Gathered together to pay our final respects to a light, a shining light in our midst for the past approximately 3 decades. For this family, for our community, Tisha B'Av has come early. We try to make sense of it. Stand on these hallowed grounds, this month of Kadosh, and express our gratitude for Yeshiva Chaim Political Academy for making this happen. Just a tremendous Mesiras Nefesh to be able to make this happen. On this campus, on these sacred and hallowed grounds, that she created lives, created Talmudim. Perhaps hundreds over the years. She opened up the keys to them, how to read, how to learn, how to be part of our heritage and our Maseret. Kabbal Yeshua. She has hundreds of sons. She has hundreds of sons. She is a mother. And these children will be her dedicated children forever. I can attest that in her single years, before Mendel came and literally swept her away from us, this 2-year fairy tale hostel that never ended these past 2 years, this unending honeymoon. So every time little boys came into shul, they'd run over to her. She'd be walking out for a kiddush and a simcha, current Talmidim, former Talmidim. She was their auxiliary mother. She gave them the tools to succeed. She gave them joy and she gave them life. But how do we make sense of this? And of course we can't. When we recall the famous letter from the Ramban. The Ramban writes that he had a disciple who he was convinced would be the light of the next generation, the Gadol Hador. If the Ramban assumes that someone's going to be the Gadol Hador, we can only begin to imagine what that means. And this young man of 19 years old, the star prominent of the Ramban, was revealed. And as his life ebbed away, and he became closer to the Yoel and to this transitory world, the Ramban made a request of him. And he said, this is a kasha for which I have no teretz. This is a question that I can conjure up no answer. And I beg of you, I plead of you, so that my emunah may remain steadfast under these trying times and this difficult test. I beseech you, please come back to me. When you reach the Yoel HaEmes, come back to me in a dream and bring me the teretz, bring me the answer to the question of why. And the disciple agreed. And the Ramban writes that the disciple was taken back to Shemayim. He left this world. And during the Shiva, as promised, he'd be back to the Ramban, a dream. And he says to the Ramban, I know that I promised you that when I got to the Yoel HaEmes, I would come back to you with the teretz, with the answer for why. Now that I'm here, I see there's no kasha, there's no question. At Tzartam and Bala, everything is perfect. Everything is according to plan. and everything that is supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And therefore the kashas don't begin, but we don't know that until we get to the lands. Because I'll tell us that the way in which the Rebbe fulfilled his promise to Avraham Avinu, that Klal Yisrael would spend 400 years in bondage and servitude, which was a necessary component of our formation as an Am, or else HaKadosh Baruch Hu would not have made that declaration to Avraham Avinu. So how did HaKadosh Baruch Hu then redeem us early? What happened to the promise of 400 years, the necessity of the 400 years? The Chazal tells us HaKadosh Baruch Hu compressed the harshness of the shibud. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took all the suffering that we should have endured through all those years of bondage and he compressed it. So therefore we're ready after 210 years. I shared a thought during these past trying days with Mendel, such a loving, loving husband. The final days in the hospital. And I told him, it occurred to me, we know that we love me to tell you, we don't run us. So the past 2 years have been a fairy tale existence. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's as if he took what's left of 120 years that one spends on this earth, and he compressed into 2 years the joy, the simchas achayim, the bond between a husband and a wife. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took what's left of 120 years, and he compressed it into 2. The relationship between the 2 of them. You could have written a book or made a movie of how a married couple become one each night. They had such dreams, such visions. They were literally just about to start a shlichus to become the shluchim for Chabad in Pasadena. They found an area that was taken care of, not taken care of yet. And in fact, it had already been announced. And in fact, Mendel and Miriam had already been introduced to the community. And Mendel, we know what he is. We know the dynamism that he represents. But he grew up in that milieu. See a man put on tefillin. Miriam didn't grow up in that milieu. And yet you would have thought that she was born for this. The women of Pasadena who are estranged from our heritage were enthralled with her. It's as if this girl who was convinced she would never marry anyone outside of her Litvisha world, she was convinced. And now she became the personification par excellence of how to do the type of work that is Mendel's life work and passion and family heritage. Gunnar Shalom didn't end her mission early. He compressed it. But I think there's another aspect here, if I may. We are here in the era of Shabbos Chazon, the saddest Shabbos of the year. For this is perhaps the darkest day of our community, and certainly the darkest day of this Mishpachah right now. But I think perhaps let's ponder the following idea. Shabbos Chazon Yeshayom. Where else do we find that word? Chazon. We say it 3 times a day. When our eyes behold, when you come back to Tzion in mercy. And Rav Breuer says, I'll ask us a question. Why did the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah composing that prayer, that part of Shemona Esrei, why was Sechazenu? Why not B'Sirenu? That's the normal word. So let us see. B'Sirenu. B'Sechazenu. And Rav Breuer Zatzal explains as follows. We have an emunah that's steadfast, that's unshakable. No matter what we've been through, as individuals, as families, as a klal, our emunah is unwavering. And when we think about what's going to ultimately be our lot and our portion for the coming of Mashiach and Yos HaMesim, we're not merely just imagining the Beis HaMikdash rebuilt. We're not just imagining all of our loved ones rising from the place where they've been interred and being reconnected with everybody. We're not just imagining that. We have a prophetic vision. We're envisioning all the miracles that it takes for a Kleisel to function with the Beis Hamikdash and to be in Eretz Yisrael, and how thousands and thousands and thousands of Yidden, when it's time for Aliyah Regel, can fit into one place. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense because we operate on miracles. And how all of Kleisel can be divided into 3 groups and they can all do Baruch Pesach. It doesn't have to make sense because we do on miracles. And therefore, says the lawyer, we're not just imagining some sort of change of status. The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and then it's rebuilt. People were interred in their graves and then they rise and come back. We're like a Navi. Chazon Yeshayahu, there's a vision. We're looking forward with a vision. And therefore I would submit. Chazon Yeshayahu on the one hand has the connotation of all the tragedies of which we think, but it's the same word with Sechazena. A vision that connotes the sadness of Shabbos Chazon, but also connotes the optimism and an amour that's unshakable. And as we stand here with our tears and with our sadness, and as deeply, deeply, deeply tragic as it is for the whole community who loved her, we know it's so much more for parents, for siblings, but Ein Isha Mesa Ulamayim. And Mendel sits here and he wonders, how will I go on? How can I go on? And to Mendel we say, V'sechazena Einenu. The Rebbeinu Shalom is the Rebbeinu Shalom of Chazon Yeshayahu is the Rebbeinu Shalom of V'sechazena Einenu. And very soon, hopefully sooner rather than later, there's going to be Tchias HaMesim. There's going to be Tchias HaMesim. You're just sending Miriam away for a short trip. It's a short trip. She's gone sometimes during your marriage to weddings without. Am I not? Am I correct? Right? Very independent, very self-sufficient. And she went and she came back. She's gone on a short trip. And Tchias HaMesim, yes, Hashem will come sooner rather than later. And almost 1,000 people on the Tehillim chat, 1,000 women, almost 1,000 women. Not a single tefillah is wasted. And who knows which one of those K'vitla Tehillim is going to bring Tchias HaMashiach ever, ever closer. And Tchias HaMesim and this happy, happy couple is going to be reunited once more. And before calling up the next speaker, I want to say the following. Miriam, we have so much of ourselves to you. You brought so much light and sunshine and optimism into our shul, our neighborhood, our community. And I want to say also thank you for bringing us with Mendel. With Mendel, you are one of the most accomplished, inspirational, do anything optimistic type of people that I've ever met. And the two of you are, I'm not saying were, are peas in a pod. You're two halves of a whole. You're two halves of a whole. And that same optimism and faith and unabiding, unshakable emunah that has guided you until now, that will provide you the chizuk to go on as difficult as it is. You know that it's a temporary party. A temporary party. Yes, Hashem will be cycled soon to be a Yoel Tzedek and Tchias HaMesim, and once more, you and Miriam will be making each other happy, and all of us, the afterglow and the overflow of that joy in their coming. You want to call up Gershon, think, Miriam's call.
It's very hard to get this right. Parents continue to ask me to try. Especially as travel. Well, sure. at the road center. Right? Why is it cash with that first? But the movie is cash. I don't know it. As a young parents, our relationship, you don't expect to have a child different than all the other children. And when she was born, I was on this amazing high. 5 hours later, I got the phone call that things are not regular. We need to visit. We need various places to look to visit. We're told that our lives changed. We'll never be the same. I didn't find that because of it. But I didn't understand what that meant. It never was the same. It took us a while. It took a while. Then we realized that we were entrusted. It took a very look at the show. My sister showed her picture. Google said this is it's very special. The Shama danced on his last gilgal and needed whatever came to him. This is the last gilgal on this world, and to do this, they could. Rabbi Feldman, Rabbi Mendel Feldman, the Rabbi Irish said, gave me his right. He told me a story on it at the time that I had limited their shops. But it gets a story that lost a child at a young age, and the dream came to them. The dream came to the parents is that it was very, very special. And Shama just needed this one thing and finish their taskers, and that's why they don't have to be in this world anymore. For she wanted to give us kids. People, she was he uplifted us. He gave us the courage to raise Miriam. It was on the job training. I didn't know what we were doing. We were learning how to do it. There were surgeries, right? We loved Miriam so much. 14-hour surgeries. We were crawling the whole time at the same through. And the motion brought her through the surgeries, the fusion. And my sister-in-law was there to be there in the hospital. Miriam had to learn to walk. And we got they took on the challenge. Right? It wasn't easy, but Yaakov could have said, we're not equipped, we can't do it. And she so much wanted to go to a Jewish school. Although she would, the school beforehand, before Yaakov did what we just had to do what we could for her. Right? She wasn't happy at such a very young age. When the Yaakov, and she eventually had a scooter. She mastered that. She mastered the scooter. A person goes to everything, everyone will walk the way of men. Freedom. It's a broken world. Right? Made it happen. And the whole base staff. Every step of the way. She loved the academic. She loves to learn. The teachers appreciate her love and her questions. Miriam always asks very analytical questions. A sharp mind. She was at the drive to learn. And there was nothing that's going to stop her. Right? And she didn't want, she could take an easy road. And just, okay, people take care of me, I'll go. She's going to find every single step of her life. Right? She was going to master it and not be restricted by her physical limitations. She surpassed every single goal. Give her challenges. Give her challenges as parents. Because we loved her. She wanted to drive. And we just weren't equipped. As a kid, she was able to drive. She wanted to drive on the highway. But it wasn't to be at that point. But later on her own, with on her own, together, with mental, she figured it out. So I followed her on. I did. Maybe it just wasn't the time. There's some organizations and people that helped her. She got the physical, we got the physical. She got the physical. And she returned it in spades. Whether it's Camp Simcha and Yahweh and the KOC, every step along the way, in middle school, next to our life was Garrett's Straw Learning Seminary. Again, she could have said, she just can't do that. Being away from parents and different support system. But she was going to do it. And Chris took her home, involved, took up the challenge as well. The handover from Ricardo to Mara, and she loved Mara. Right? Okay. I'm limited by reality of time. Studying extra, she's going to do it, and she did it. Okay, she showed us that we were nervous. We were parents, right? When she came back to her parents, so I want her to push into something practical, get a drop it in computers, the government doesn't take care of her needs. That wasn't going to work. She did it for a month as a summer hire. She did not like it. She had she wanted to teach boys to her, right? She understood that she didn't have children, right? How she had to have a Helic Terror would be, right, to be Margaret's third, to get involved in the car with open arms. And this is the biggest comment that has been here. Christian loves, T2 loves, TA. To be Margaret's third. Right, she treasured the letters that she got from Tim Tony that were sent to me. Thanking her for she just like my mother, she wanted to be over with love, and then that is known as love of an aunt, and love like and Miriam, you go over to her nieces and nephews, she loves so much, she wants to go with her niece. My husband, she was there to wait to go home. Wonderful to cook for. She wanted to do fitness. She wanted so much. And it was when she met her dear mentor, right? That it was an amazing change. A different person. We were all so fully, but I'm not finished off. Next year. things that you and Miriam put together will go on forever. Coming in the Torah. And thanks to our family and community for everyone who's family. And these things that are done, it's fearless, are lost. And forever together. We'll go on, and thanks to everyone. And our love for everyone. We don't understand the problem. We love you. It's you. We might as well please teach to the greatest on our behalf. On behalf of relatives. On behalf of our relatives, family, and community as far as well.
First of all, for Miriam, who deserves a life, such a rich life that will go on for hours. It's here in Shabbos, in Flores, in New York. And the only way that this is going to happen is if we actually conclude with the mulling by 10:30. So my second beseeching of Mechila is I'm asking for the rest of the speakers who also really, there's so much to say, and they can go on forever. We're going to have to ask that we're going to have to limit 3 minutes per masjid because we absolutely need to be on the road by 10:35 in order to make it in time for Shabbos for the funeral. We ask for a school captain, who is the director of Chabad Maryland, Robin, our neighbor.
Miriam Novi says, name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Olech v'korosa bo'od Yerushalayim le'mor. Go and call out the years of Yerushalayim to follow me. V'charti lo chesed v'urayim, avas v'u'esayim, lechtech achalai ba'midbar. I remember the love of your youth. When you went into the midbar, you followed me into the midbar. The midbar shmama, desolate place. But you followed me. Yifteres was prepared to go to a midbar shmama, to go to a place where there is no Yiddishkeit, but there are Yiddish. Why? Achalai. Follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to seek out his children and to bring them back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to fulfill what HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised to the Novi, the Atem to look to Echad Beis Yisrael. You will be gathered one by one, the time before the Geula. But one may say she was not actually Zoycha to move out to that Mokem HaShlichus, the place where she was designated to go. But I want to note what the Gemara says, the Pasuk, Vayachir Hashem Vayishma Vayikosav V'Seif L'Korin L'Fonov, V'Yira Hashem L'Chosh V'Yishmai. Gemara asks, Ma'ay L'Chosh V'Yishmai, what does it mean to those who think about his name? Omar Abir answers, Afilu Ne'emas. Even if for no reason of their own they had an oinef, V'lei also, and they did not do. My all about Kosma Kedibor considers it done. It was done. The first mass, on Niach, that's good. According to the Shita that says, command the Ovid Amriha. If someone is a Eilis, nevertheless it's as if they did it. But what about Shitas Rabbi Yochanan? Rabbi Yochanan says, Goy Amrin and command the Ovid. We don't consider it as if it was done. Some Sefer answers, Taka al Pidin, it's not so. But Chal Hashem. Chal Hashem is like a Rebbe who takes the machshava and says it's a ma'aseh, it's a deed, it's an act. That's by any means. Shlichus is different. To be an emissary, to be a shliach. When one has been kabul with shlichus, one accepts the position and the responsibility, as she did. That is the chalois. That is the actual ma'aseh, that is the doing, that is the action of shlichus. She is a shlucha of the Rebbe. She became a shlucha because she accepted the position of shlichus. We can't praise her deeds. All of her deeds that she would have wanted to do have been done. Choshev kamaisa. Shemayim, now where she sits, she will be mekabel the schar of all of those machshavas. And if that schar, in order we should bless her husband Ben and help us be mamaya to hurry up the moment for kitzu v'ranu sheish ne'yafar, and all of those who dwell in the earth will be revived. Tchiyas hamesim v'geulah ha'mitzvos v'ashleim.
Rabbi Chesker's wife speak to us now at Base Chapel of Baltimore High School.
Ibn Ezra says on the pasuk, Isha ki yafli lindar neder, that yafli should be understood as wondrous. It's a pillow when a person can renounce physical pleasures to accept nazirus. It's wondrous to give up basic needs. Miriam was a Kliya Nisgava. She challenged our assumptions that someone with a disability had a natural need to be coddled, that expectations of her should be low and scaled down. She soared past our hasagas. Regular school days, regular tests, exceptional friendships, superior singing, respected leadership, regular seminary, even driving. Standing with Miriam, I'm leaving parts out as requested. Standing with Miriam, one would need to slightly incline one's head downward to converse or interact with her. Is there any question that in the Alma T'Gshait, in the world of truth, that we will have to crane our necks upward to be able to behold this titanic neshama who will be towering over so many others with greater but unfulfilled potential? Miriam was disguised. She was really a giant. The Rachel HaKodesh says that Petira is merely relocation. From her new home, Miriam is peering down at us and saying, everything is good. I fulfilled my tachlis. Thank you, Daddy and Mommy, for teaching me what I could be, for inspiring me with your dizzying heights of emunah and simchas achayim, for believing in me. Thank you, beloved husband, Rav Mendel, who made my life so rich and alive with love and achievement. Thank you, community and teachers, for guiding me. And we say, Miriam, thank you for teaching us lessons of how anyone can achieve their potential for greatness.
Now, the principal of TA, Miriam, and someone else. What do we say to all the students that are counting on you? The boys love learning with you. You believed in them. You knew they could do it. What should we tell these boys that are counting on you? Not long ago, we met with some parents, and they knew the child would be okay this coming year because they were learning with you. This is a bit. You had gevura, strength, incredible strength. Your talmidim saw every single day your dedication, your love, your infectious, beaming smile, a real special person. To you, everything was possible. A little over 2 years ago, we all remember going to those amazing weddings. We saw two giants ready to conquer the world. Recently, as mentioned, you took upon yourself shlichus. There was a question that had come back to TA. We were overjoyed when we heard, and this is going to make a 45-minute drive. Enjoy to be with us in yeshivas here. These students were her children. She attended their bar mitzvahs and kept up with her life well past the 5th grade. She relished in their accomplishments with nachas just as a parent. Mrs. Mintz, you were not just a resource teacher, you were part of the chinuch of our yeshiva. Every person, rebbe, teacher, talmid, that had the privilege to pass through in our hallways was affected by who you are, what you stood for. Always upbeat, positive, sweet, with such an emus, and of course, the smile. You thought you taught at your table, but you taught by example. Now, our chinuch won't be the same. But a little over 2 years ago, when I spoke at the sheriff's office, at the time I shared the question of the Baal Shem. The Torah tells us in Baha'u'llah that Moshe tried to make the menorah and he couldn't make it. So Hashem showed it to him in a fire, and then he was able to make it. The Baal Shem asked 2 questions. Number 1, why was the menorah more difficult than other parts, other kelim? And number 2, why didn't he knew it? Baruch knew that he couldn't do it. So Hashem showed it to him with this is the page. But perhaps the answer is that ruchnius and Torah and growth and personal growth. It's not just to get it the way and you do it. Hashem was teaching Moshe and us that sometimes you say you can't, and Hashem said, I gave you the tzivoy, I'll show you, I'll help you. And with work and perseverance, you're going to do it. Mrs. Mintz gave yeshiva, and you told and you showed our talmidim that the impossible is possible. You taught at your table, and you taught by example. Your TA children are crying. Your TA family is crying. You had the Shabbat Tahara, a Kuf Tamar. We say in the Kalmale, it's in Avarachna, Akash Baruch is Sheikhin Miriam. What's in Hashem is Sheikhin Miriam, the redness of Akash Baruch, why are we pointing out here? And I saw Pshat. That we say Hashem is Mali Rachamim, it's Abba Rachamim. Everything that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is
is with mercy, but we won't understand it until Shaykhim Miriam. Bilo l'mavos l'netzach l'mavcha Hashem l'tim d'imam Yaakov.
Rabbi Mintz, father-in-law of Miriam, and the director of adult education for Chabad International. Although the minute in Chabad is not within a stadium, flipping on the Rav asked, Man noimar u'man medaber. Medrash in Kohelet says, Noilad Adam hakrel smeichim. Meis Adam hakrel boichem. When someone is born, a child is born, there's a tremendous simcha. When one finishes their life, hakrel boichem. Medrash says this should not be the case. Einoikei. Noilad Adam ein yoydim be'ezer perek u'maisim yamod. When we're not certain, we're not sure what direction this person's life will take, we should be boicha, v'zlovena. However, when one concludes their life and we see their achievements, that's a time for simcha. That medrash that speaks about Noilad Adam hakoil smeichin, that's true for most of society. But as parents with special needs children know, that Noilad, when a child with challenges is born, boichin. As was mentioned earlier by the B'chutin of Gershon, and in the life of the Nifteres of Miriam, our daughter-in-law, we didn't have to wait, the community, the family didn't have to wait for the smeichim, for Soif Yomeha, for her end of days. When her life became complete, as the Zohar teaches, that when marriage happens, this Palgi the Gufa and Palgi the Nishmasa, two halves come together, there's a wholesome neshama. The Simchas HaChayim that she had and shared with Mendel and with all those around her. HaKoil Smeichim. There was a tremendous simcha that she brought wherever she went, as we heard from each of the Rabbanim. She, along with Mendel, Miriam, may have been a cotton begashmis. But she was a giant Beruchnis, a giant in Torah, a giant in Avodah, and a giant in Milas Chasodim Sha'aleim Ha'olam Oimed. In Torah, in addition to what we heard from the Mordaseh, from the Rabbanim, and the Nahal, and the Mechanchim, what's made maybe less known, every single night, Shara Chavrusa with her husband, with Mendel, they learned every single night. And her primary limud, she was new to Hasidus. She was new to Hasidus Chabad. And she told me when she was a Kala, when she got married, that she wants to start learning Hasidus. And oh, did she learn? Not only did she learn, she was the Oymer V'Oisa. She learned Hasidus. And she practiced Hasidus. Chabad and Hasidus was foreign to her. Up until 2.5 years ago, she was Oyser Yitzoyin Baila. She was committed. Over the last few days, we're going through the terrible challenges that we went through. At one point, the doctors came over to us and said, and told Miriam's mother, there's nothing else we can do. And Miriam's mother turned to the doctor and said, yes, there is something that you can do. You could put on tefillin today. And Miriam's mother turned to us and said, this is what Mendel taught us. And we put on tefillin with the doctor right near Miriam. In the ICU, she not only was prepared and committed, and as Rabbi Kaplan Zayin said, it was already l'choshvei shmoi, she was already a shlucha, she was already oisekes b'tzorchei tzibur be'amunah. But she didn't only do that herself, she inspired all those around her. Without care, the Yismasus we heard from the Anhola, from the Mechanchim, the Rabbanim Rosh Yeshiva, of the Yeshiva here, which is a tremendous chus to have the Levaya right here, where she dedicated close to 10 years of her life to Mechanech, Zoyin Kotshim. That's in Torah and Avodah. She had a tremendous chavivus to tefillah. We saw, whenever she visited us in New York, tefillah, she had tremendous care and devotion to her davening. She never missed her tefillah, and she did so very carefully. And the tefillah extended beyond the regular. This past Shabbos Mevarchim, Menachem Ov, she told Mendel she wants to take upon the minhag of Chabad to say Tehillim on Shabbos Mevarchim. Her tefillah, and she's always looking to do more, to be moisef, v'hoylach, v'hoyr. And the Gnuras Chasadim, her gear, her simchas hachayim that she shared with others. What is the secret? I was thinking to myself over the last few hours. And first she was saying that among the Shiftei Yudkei, among the 12 Shvatim, there was one who was able to misgaber, to overcome the tremendous challenges he faced in life. No other Shevet, no other one of the brothers faced and overcame the challenges like Yosef HaTzadik. What was it? How was it that Yosef was able to overcome the incredible challenges Begashmis, challenges Beruchnius? He's the only one that's referred to as Yosef HaTzadik. What was Yosef's secret? First we say, Shmo Kogorim. Look at the name of the person. Every one of the Shvatim were referred to, were called Al Shem Ha'avah. Ruven, Ro Hashem Oni. Shimon, Shama, Hashem Kisnua Anoichi. Yosef, when it came to Yosef, Yosef was different. Yosef was called, Yosef was Osaf, Elikimas Chakosi, but Yosef was not called Osaf, Lashon Avar. Yosef was called Yosef because Yosef Hashem Li Ben Acher. Yosef was called Hashem Ha'asi. He always looked forward, he never looked back. Not Shama, Ro'ah. He looked forward. And with that, it was in his name, it was in his DNA, it was in his muhus, in his nefesh. Always looking forward, never looking back, and that was the secret of his survival with Gashmis and the Bukhlis. Miriam never looked back. If she looked back, she would be what society refers to as special needs, challenges, but she never looked back. She was always looking forward. And in fact, as was mentioned, and her father, looking forward was also actually literally in her quest and determination for Yosef Hashem Li Ben Acher. Actually, so much wanted. To conclude, during these days, the days of Bein HaMitzarim in general, especially during the 9 days, we learn Hilchos Beis HaBchira, as the Rebbe urged us to learn, because we don't only look back, we look forward. Not only at the Churban, but at the Binyan Habayis. The Gemara says, when we learn about the Beis HaMikdash, Ki'ilu Boinim, it's as though we're building the Beis HaMikdash. So the Rambam concludes Hilchos Beis HaBchira, and he says that every single morning, the Kohen would walk through, they would check the whole Azara. As Azara, the entire Azara. Ushtei Avukois Shalor Biyado. They would carry 2 large torches of fire and check the entire Azara. Seder Hazer, the Rambam says, this was the ordinary Seder. The whole night of the light, every single night. Chutz, Milei Shabbos. Besides Friday night Shabbos, they couldn't carry the Avukra, they couldn't carry the fire. So how did they check? Says the Rambam, Boitkin b'neiros hadlukim shom erev Shabbos. They would use the fire that was kindled before Shabbos, that will illuminate Shabbos. It says, here's the Rebbe, what does this mean? Yemois HaMashiach is Yom Shekulot Shabbos. And when Mashiach comes, Ein B'Yadeinu Oyer. We can no longer light candles. The world will be a lichtige Welt. The world will be already illuminated. So how would the world be illuminated? B'neiros hadlukin be'erev Shabbos, says the Rebbe. This is Pshat in the Rambam. From our Torah and mitzvahs that were kindled during these last final days of Golus. That will illuminate the way forward in the Yom Shekulot Shabbos. Miriam was a tremendous avukah shel oil. And that avukah shel oil will kindle a way forward and illuminate Yemois HaMashiach and the Hachag Yitro. When we know that this is the last Bein Hamtzorim in Golus. This is the last of the 9 days in Golus, because we're certain that Hinei Oimed Achar Kosleinu, and we should be Zoichet the Korev to Hakitzu V'Ranamu Shoichnei Afar Yehi B'Soicham with all Yidden in Eretz Yisrael and around the world, B'Simcho B'Tuv Leivon and the Korev Mamish.
I want to thank everybody for coming out on such short notice and for tefillos, mitzvos that were done over the last 4 days. Some that we know about, many more than I'm sure we're going to learn about. As my father said, no tefillah goes unanswered, and it should be as implicit. There's so much to talk about Miriam. We've gone for hours, but I just wanted to focus on the Nuna, her belief in the abilities that Hashem gave her and gave everyone. My siblings and I saw more immediately with our children, the love and attention and that she showered upon each of them, bringing out their potential, and how she extended that to her children, that she referred to her boys. She thought about them. She not just in school, but all day she would, even in her own time, she would strategize. She would see what she could do to help them just bring out the best. I was thinking about what Miriam would want me to say to everyone, and I think it's really just that to believe in your children, believe whether you're a parent, an educator, whoever interacts with children, believe in them, believe in what they could become. I just wanted to first thank my parents for showing us what it means to raise a child. Miriam obviously had her needs, but the way my parents made Miriam was really the same that they raised all of us. Miriam needed more attention, but my parents made sure each of the other 4 of us got the same amount of attention, even though their needs were different. Hashem should give Mom and Daddy the strength to move forward. And just know that this time here was short, but it was a complete life. She accomplished more than anyone could accomplish in 120 years. And mental, you didn't realize how much joy you brought into Miriam's life in the last 2 years. She was a new person. And introduce her and to Rabbi Mintz for accepting Miriam into her family, treating her like a daughter, even though we have a different Masorah, but you introduced her into your beautiful Masorah, and she learned so much. We lifted her up, and we're always going to be grateful to you. Thank you so much, Mom.
talk for hours and hours, but I requested a minute and a half. I just want to talk about one nakuda. That schmoozing with Miriam, you feel like you're learning to say Tzil Sasharim. And that Dhamma talks about how the world is just a praise there in front of the trackman, and it's just a preparing for Yom Shikul Doig. And Tzil Sasharim says that people could live their whole lives and just get stuck in the praise there and forget that it's just a praise to the trackman. Talking to schmoozing with Miriam, what's chayd again for this mitzvah? Is there a schad? Maybe I'm not having the right kavanah, maybe it's a complete reality when we talk about looking at that door, it's right there. That how we're just preparing for Yom Shikul Aruch, it's living, personified. When Mrs. Sharm says someone should live their life, just choosing about immediately the Alma with Miriam, they always him up, and we know now she made it, she did what people could spend years and years never thinking about it. She spent, and Miriam, please down for us, that Imam and for mental and talk on our.
Mary's seminary has been very close in terms of higher Greenwald for the knowledge of the war. He's joining us from Eretz Yisrael, and we're going to ask him to say a minute or two in honor of Mary, Rabbi Greenwald.
I want to do what the Bible wants me to do. That man that always wanted to do what's right. Whenever we were sitting in my office and you were talking about your father, your parents, who are the most brilliant, beautiful, wonderful people in the world, who always worried about you and wanted to do good for you. And they said they wanted you to be Jesus because then you would have the good insurance and so on to take care of you. And he said to me, I want to make a difference. I want to do something that's going to be a Kaddish Shemayim. I want to do something where my life is meaningful. And I don't know what I'm going to have. I don't know if I'm going to get married. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know that I want to do something that's real and that makes a difference. And he said you want to do it to him when your father came to visit. We sat and we had a discussion. Your father came out of the MS or EMS. He heard you and he heard that this is really what you want and he was a couple. And you went for it. And he said to me, but how am I going to teach? No one will teach. There's a stand on the table. You don't have to worry. You'll find a way. The way you found a way to do everything, and that's what you did. You found a way to do everything, and through all the difficulties, and everybody knows you smile. Not everybody knows that it's important to say there were dark moments. There were dark moments you didn't have an easy life. And there were dark moments in life, but even in those dark moments, you never gave up. You would call and you would ask for scissors. You'd say, yes, I mean, and sometimes you would make a joke in the dark moments. Because you had a sense of humor, and you had a heart, and you had a mind, and your heart and mind were all bigger than you. I can't speak now, I know that it's not very short, and you have to leave now. Because you're going far away place, which is actually very, very close. But I just want to say, remember, when we were in my office together 14 months ago, I never saw Miriam so happy, so connected, so fulfilled, so geschmack. You are such a wonderful and special person together. You two giants built, and we're building, and there's any show who knows that why he created every person for every amount of time, for everything that he has to do. I can't say more, except that
before Shabbos in Brooklyn. So we're going to ask after Mole, as the pallbearers escort her out to the waiting Chavikish vehicle, we're going to ask, please let the Mendel and his in-laws, and his siblings-in-laws, please let them exit first. We ask, although everyone wants to stay to visit with the hug and to encourage the Avelim, but we are in a very, very, very difficult time present. There'll be time during the Shiva to visit, so please allow the Avelim to proceed directly without stopping, following the Chavikish vehicle. We will then ask the Avelim to go directly to the vehicles which they are traveling into New York. We ask, please, no one to delay them. There's time for the Shiva for hugs and words. We need to get to Brooklyn on time. Shiva information will be distributed later. The Avelim will spend Shabbos in 5 towns. They will be returning after the weekend, starting with Shabbos Monday at Mendel and Miriam's home on 3637 Glengyle. We will send out the detailed information as far as what time Shabbos will be. This is Devar Unger, who Baruch Hashem was just granted a new baby a few days ago, will not be traveling. Will be returning to her home, doing kibbut avei, listening to her parents and Rav. So thank you. You know, with Messiah's Nefesh, she will be returning to her home after the Levaya at 3504 Round Hollow Road, where she will be sitting already after the Levaya in Stevenson. Please rise for a moment. Gershon Pנחס, Shalcha B'Yarnamo, Avor Shamis Halloween, to believe nether, thankfulness to God, Yaras Karas Nishmasa, Shalom,